So it might ask you to confirm the record. It might not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so we're going to start near the front of the chair. Take a moment just to get into your feet. So let your feet get really nice and heavy, sinking into the floor. And notice your footprints. Notice if you have a sense of each individual toe. Of each heel. Feel the temperature of your feet. So are they warm? Are they cold? Can you even sense the temperature? Sometimes when they're just body temperature, it's quite hard to feel them. And then just start to give your toes a wriggle. Establishing a connection to your feet. And as you wriggle your toes, can you get some separation between them? So you're moving each toe as individually as possible. That's not to say, you're intricately tapping each one up and down, just moving your toes as much as you can. And as your toes rest, spread them out, lift your heels up and lower down. And really try and get quite a good squeeze of your calf muscles right at the top of the movement here. So really good lift and then lower. Now, as your heels lift, we'll do this both at the same time. Swing your heels out away from each other, then pull your heels towards the floor, sweep them across towards each other and up. Circling your ankles, but with your toes down. So it's kind of easier to an extent, but actually quite a lot harder in your calf muscles. It's easier in that you don't have to lift your legs, but you might feel a bit of challenge there at the top. Bring your feet down. Give them a tap. Lovely. And then we'll move up to our knees. So we're just going to systematically work our joints here. Any lower back stuff, lean against the chair. Take hold of your left leg. So you hammock it with your hands. If that's not possible, some people pick up their trousers, which works as well. Bend your left knee as much as you can, and then straighten your leg. So we'll just do a few of these, knee bends and straightens. And what you can do is point your toes as your foot moves, and then flex your toes at the end of the movement. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Left foot down, same on the right side. So we are straightening that leg, rebending, just as much range of motion in your knee joint as there is there. Right foot down. Hands on your hips. Notice where your pelvis is. Most people, I would say, unless you're right at the front of your chair, most people sit in a kind of tucked position. So we're a little bit more on the back of our bottom than we are on our sitting bones. So what we'll do is try waistband forwards, waistband back. So you kind of feel that you're rolling over the bones on the underside of your pelvis. The next time your pelvis pulls forwards, hold there. Hold on to your chair somewhere. If you can reach the underside, hold on to the underside. Otherwise, you might go around the arms. You might hold on to the seats. and start to march your legs. So now we've moved up into our hips, pelvis and hips. Trying to lift your leg as high as it will go without tipping backwards. Keep your right leg down, lift your left leg up. So push down with your right foot and just give this left leg a circle. The angle of your knee doesn't really change here, so it's coming from your hip. So you see there, my foot isn't really wafting around either. It is all coming from my thigh, rotating in my hip joint. Foot down, push down with your left foot. Do the same thing on the right side. So just a nice circle. Try and control this so that your bottom stays even. You're not tipping to the right. And it is an isolation of this movement of your thigh and your hip joint. Foot down. Just making our way all the way up, to be honest, to warm our bodies up. So hands on your knees, round backwards. You want your waistband to round back, then the middle of your back, also your rib cage. Draw your chin to your chest and just look down. And then your waistband pulls forwards, your breastbone lifts up, and you arch away from the back of your chair. And what I would say with this is don't overdo it in your neck. So this is your spine moving. Our necks are the most mobile part of our spine because our eyes are on our head. So we do need them to be mobile. We don't really need to do too much to our neck. There is merit to neck exercises, absolutely. But with this movement, focus on the space between your chest and your pelvis. Come back to an upright position. Arms down either side of you. And let's go for an alternate shoulder roll. So this left shoulder knocks upwards. As it rolls down, right shoulder is going to lift up. Both of your shoulders are rolling. They are rolling in the same direction, but they're doing so at different times, basically. Now, try both shoulders at the same time. So they go up, down, forwards, and back up. One more time. Shoulders down, arms either side of you. Roll your elbow creases and your palms to point forwards, and then roll the other way. And you're trying to get this to happen at the level of your shoulder joint. So really trying to spin your arm and your shoulder there. As your palms and your elbow creases point forwards, bend your elbows. Keep your elbows bent, turn your palms forwards, and then straighten your elbows. So keep this rotation of your hands, so thumbs are pointing at you, so that as we bend our elbows, palms are forwards, and then turn your palms in the direction of your face and straighten your elbows. Again, keep this rotation of your palms. Thumbs are now out, elbows bend, palms turn forwards, elbows straighten. From here, reach your arms forwards, interlace your fingers, and push your palms forward. So your thumbs are pointing down. As you push your palms forwards, slightly round your upper back towards the back of your chair. Now turn to the left. I was going to say right there, so the left. That's it. Turn to the right. Rotate to look forwards. Undo your hands and give your wrists a circle. Beautiful. So let's open our fingers wide. Curl them in. So imagine you've got a sort of soft tennis ball in each hand. Make really tight fists. Really try and squeeze those imaginary tennis balls and then flick your fingers open. Slow squeeze. Pop the tennis balls and then throw them. One more time. Flick. Fantastic. Okay, from here, we'll start with our series of 4 different exercises. And we're going to start with the one that everyone can do. And then as we go on, because we will repeat them twice more, I'll show you different variations. We're going to go with our 4 exercises that basically work our whole body. And then what I've planned for the weeks coming is to do more focus on upper body and then also more focus just on lower body. So don't worry, this is kind of the last week where we just do this one. And then we'll obviously come back to it again at some point. So you want your resistance band. Hold the ends and pop them underneath your feet. Go with your feet, go a comfortable width apart. So make sure your feet aren't together. A good comfortable width apart, doesn't have to be too wide. If the band feels quite slack in your hands, keep some end coming out of your hands and walk your hands down. So that once you're back in an upright position, this is quite tough. Arms are straight. Keeping your spine nice and long. So this is your hinging movement. So this is, imagine you're a door. I know it's a weird image. Your torso is the door. Your hips are the hinges of the door. And your legs are the frame of the door. You could even think of yourself as a book. That's actually probably a nicer idea. So your hips are the spine of the book. So from here, we close the book, we come forwards. We let the band pull us forwards. Elbows stay straight. We come back to an upright position. Beautiful. So let it bring you forwards. Elbows straight, back to an upright position. Keep going. If you find this really easy, then just walk your hands lower down. You can increase the resistance. That's the beauty of resistance bands. Now, come back to an upright position and we bring in our pulling. We're going to pull at a slightly different angle today. So you probably need your hands slightly nearer to the ends of the band now. It stays underneath your feet. So I'm just going to bring it a bit more underneath my feet because they're in risk of falling out. Rotate your arms so your thumbs are pointing at your torso. From here, our elbows pull straight up and then they come back down. So you look a bit like a scarecrow or like you're just being pegged up by your shoulders. Now, what we want here is a sense that our neck stays long. We're not allowing our head to pull forwards. So what you can do, it might be a little bit fiddly, but you can lean against the back of the chair to keep your neck resting. This time as our elbows bend, we're going to hold them there. And I'll ask you to just turn your head left to right, just to check that you're not pinching your neck and holding it tight. Lovely. Now as you look forward, straighten your arms. Oh, just give your shoulders a roll. I found that quite tiring. Fantastic. Okay. Keep the resistance band underneath your feet. And actually, the next movement, if you stay sitting, is going to look the same. And then what we'll do eventually is add in some sit to stands. So you can either walk your hands down the resistance band, or you might keep them where they are. And then what we do from here is we lean back, quite far back now, and let the band pull us forward. So you're closing the book, opening the book, and closing. You have an option. I'll throw a couple in here, actually, as you come forwards to come up to standing. I have to come back. Sorry, I was a bit far forwards there. So you can try this, standing up and sitting down. One more time. So you're either leaning or you're standing. Beautiful. Okay, back to your upright seat. Slacken the band. Take it out from underneath your feet. Pushing. Take the band and wrap it round behind you. For an idea of location, find your armpit. Couple of inches under armpit, or what I will say, which might make a bit more sense, find your bra strap about an inch underneath your bra strap. Hold the band. You don't need to tie it, just hold it either side. And hold your hands, so it's like you're holding handlebars. So your palms, your hands are in fists, but your palms are facing down. If your hands were open, your palms would be down and your thumbs would be pointing at each other. So all we do from here, we push, and then we just let the band bring us back. So it's just pushing. Push, let the band bring you back. This is another one where your neck can very easily try and do the work for you. If that is happening, really think about lovely long neck. Let your shoulder blades relax and just push with your arms. Fabulous. As our elbows straight, let's hold them there. Hold and breathe. Check in with your neck. Nice and long. Now bring your elbows back. Arms down. Undo the resistance band. Give your hands a break. You've been holding that resistance band for a very long time. Very, very normal. Two things, for it to just get really tiring. Also, for your hands to hurt. And I implore you not to panic if your hands hurt. If they hurt tomorrow, there's nothing wrong with your hands. You haven't aggravated them. It doesn't mean you need to stop doing it. It just means that when we do stuff that challenges our muscles, often we don't get away with that scot-free. Often they get a bit sore, and that's okay. That's quite normal. So now we're going to go back and do all of those exercises again, and I'm going to show you the different variations. So we want our hinge exercise. So with our hinge exercise, you are either taking the resistance band underneath your feet, walking your hands down, tipping back and forwards, you might come up to standing, or you're just tipping back and forwards. Beautiful. If you struggle to stand up in this restricted position, then your option is to grab your weight or weights and hold them just in front of your chest and do your sit to stands that way. So we now want this resisted movement. Beautiful. So Norma, if the resistance band, yes, perfect, well done. It's one of those ones where I kind of wish I was recording you, because Norma's showing the variation without the resistance band, but still sitting to stand. And then Bridget is showing the variation without the standing. Everything else though. Lovely. So as you come up now, so if you're sitting, stay in your sitting position. If you are standing and you've got the resistance band, slide your hands a bit lower. Norma, hold those weights, yeah, either side of you, turn your palms so they're pointing back, thumbs are pointing at you. We all do the same movement. So we pull our elbows up and out, and then we straighten. So elbows up and out. So you see there, my hands come slightly away from my body. And it's a weird thing to think of because you can't see yourself really that well. Think about right angles. So right angle at armpit, kind of a right angle at the elbows as well. As your arms come up, hold them there. Turn your head to check that you're not overdoing it at your neck. Ooh, lovely. Straighten your elbows. Check the chairs there. I always have to do that. Come back down. Beautiful. So if the resistance band is your resistance prop today, keep it where it is. Those of you with the weights are going to grab your weight instead. Weight or weights. So we start, feet a bit wider. We tip forward, so we'll all do this, and then we lift back up. Beautiful. Those of you with the weights, come up to standing. What you now do, so Bridget, keep going with your resistance band, is we're still imagining that we're a book closing. So now we come to more of a right angle. So we're more like a book stop, a bookend, and then we lift back up to standing. So it's like you're trying to use your bottom to close a door, to close a cupboard door behind you. Another thing I'll ask you to do here, if you're standing, rather than looking down, rather than looking back between your knees, is to find a spot in front of you and look at that instead. So if you have a look at the direction of my head, my eyes stay forwards. And what that does is it just kind of corrects the position of your upper back a little bit. Beautiful. Okay. Back to an upright position. If you've got a weight, just plonk it down for a moment. Bridget, pop your resistance band around the back of your rib cage again. So you're going to do our pushing. Standing, ladies. We do our press-ups again. These are, I know it seems like these are the kind of movements that you think, oh, these are what people that go to the gym do. They're so functional. It's not just about doing a press-up. That might not even be on your radar. What it is about is having the capacity to push yourself away from something with your arms, which is always, always, always a good thing to have. So Bridget, you're going to get your resistance band. You've got it close to your underneath your bust. You push your hands forwards and then you just let the band pull your elbows back. So that's you, Bridget. Oh, well done. Anne Light's doing it. Well done. So hands are on the chair. Notice my body here. I don't hinge at the hips. I just come forward, my elbows bend, and then I push myself away from the chair. So you come forwards and push. And what you might find here is there's quite an immediate limit. Some people sort of go all the way to the chair. Some people stop about here, and then they think, if I go any further, I won't be able to come back. There's good information for your body to know. Couple more. Elbows bend, push. One more time. Push. Well done. Relax your arms. Bridget, take the band out from underneath you, or sorry, from behind you. We're on to our final round. So these 4 exercises, we can go, like we will do in the weeks coming up, we can go a bit more detailed with things, but these are just 4 quite good kind of coverall movements that deal with some of the main functions of our body, which is why I do them quite a lot. So we've got a squatting movement, which is up and down from the chair, a pulling movement, a pushing movement, and then a bending or a hinging movement. So back to the chair. So with this hinging movement, Norma, keep the weights in front of you. If you're happy doing this with the resistance band instead, then do it with the resistance band. So you've either got your weights or you've got your resistance band under your feet. If you're on the resistance band, find some challenge up to an upright position. And then you can start with a couple of forwards and backwards rocks. If you feel ready, you can bring it into a standing position and then sit back down. Let's really try and get these hips to work. Bridget, you can still do this. The leaning forwards and backwards, still really good. The pushing with those feet. Oh, and Anne Light, you've got the kettlebell. I'm going to show you a way of pulling the kettlebell. when you're ready. Okay, so we come up to an upright position. That's either standing or it's an upright seat. So remember the variation with either the 2 weights or the resistance band. And light, what you can do with your kettlebell is hold it and pull it up to your chest. Beautiful. So Norma, that's it, elbows out. So Norma, if you start with your arms like this, you can do that. Yeah. It's just because the kettlebell's only got one handle. That's it. Norma, take your hands a bit further away from you so you come out. That's it. Beautiful. So we hold those elbows up and pause. Beautiful. Turn your head left to right. If you can feel your shoulders working, well done, I can too. Lovely. From here, straighten your elbows. Return to your chair. So Bridget, you can do a forwards and backwards lean. Take a moment just to catch your breath. If you need to roll your shoulders out, then please do. Lovely. Let your shoulders rest. Hinging movement. You either have your resistance band under your feet and you're holding it in your hands, or if you've got weight, you want your legs a bit wider just so you can accommodate the weight. We'll do a couple of forwards leans and then back to an upright position. So this is what you're doing if you're not coming to standing. If you're coming to standing, lean forwards, stand up, and then straight legs, looking ahead, closing a door behind you with your bottom, and then standing all the way back up. So closing a door all the way back up. Notice with this movement how I am not going that low. It's mostly because at a certain point, it just works other things that we're not looking to work. That's all, not dangerous. One more. Beautiful. Back to an upright position. Put your weight down. Come round to the back of your chair if you're standing. This is your final pressing movement. So Bridget, I'll re-show you the one with the resistance band. Ladies, using the back of your chair, choose what works for your wrists. So sometimes they get really tired, in which case you might want to hold around the sides rather than on the top. It's a different position for your hands. Step back a little bit so you increase a bit of challenge, and just think about the weight transfers from your heels to your toes as your elbows bend, and then back to your heels as your elbows straighten. So that is you if you're standing. I am not bending at the hip. So keep going if you're standing. I'll refresh you with the sitting version. Resistance band, round your back. Push. Push. Beautiful. Let's do 3 more. Well done. 3. Okay. Rest your arms. If you're standing, pause in standing a moment. Just come away from the back of your chair and let's all give our shoulders a roll up, round and back. Notice how your neck feels. So I always like to imagine that there is some really kind person just beautifully drawing my head up. So it's like a traction, but they're not pulling and they're not being aggressive and then they're not being heavy-handed. Now, as your shoulders come down, keep them down. Lean across to the right. Lift all the way back up. Lean across to the left. Slowly back up. Once again to the right. If you would like to, you can lift this left arm. Any extent is good. All the way back up. Lean across to the left. Again, if you would like to, you can lift your right arm, your choice. All all the way back up. Beautiful. If you're standing, return to your seat. As you return to your seat, we'll do a little bit of rotation. So we're just going to pull our left knee back a little bit. So your right knee, if you look down at them, they're staggered. Right knee is closer to my laptop, left knee is further away. From here, rotate to the left. So your right hand comes somewhere to the outside edge of your left knee, and left arm can wrap around the back of your chair. If it feels good in your neck, continue to look all the way round. Otherwise, just keep your nose in line with your breastbone. Rotate to look forwards. Switch up your knees. So left knee travels a bit further forwards. Rotate to the right. Again, if it feels nice in your neck, turn to look over your right shoulder. Now turn to look forwards. Fabulous. An exercise I love. Come back on your chair. And Bridget, this would actually be really delicious in your chair because it's quite big. So I'll show you the version that you can do in an armchair. You want your elbows, I mean, my chair's too narrow for this, but elbows pushing back into the chair. So some of you, if you're quite narrow, might be able to do it on your chair. And then as your elbows push back, you're just going to lift the middle of your back away from the chair. Shoulders are on the chair. If you can't do that like me, wrap your hands around the back of your chair and still do the same thing. Lift your chest and just don't overdo it with your neck. So don't tip your head back. Keep your head kind of neutral. Lovely. Return to an upright position. And then slide your hands down your legs and just tip forwards over your legs. It's like you're trying to bring your belly to your thighs. You might let go of the weight of your head. You might not. Now slowly, slowly roll back up. And let's rest. So just make sure you feel supported, you feel rested. As you come towards the back of your chair, I'm going to bring something underneath my feet. Absolutely lovely. So if you've got something to pop under your feet, let yourself rest. Really luxuriate in this. A lot of people, sorry, I've come off the screen because I'm just putting my radiator on. A lot of people almost don't give themselves the gift of rest. It's really nice to have contrasting periods of rest and work. Your body loves it. So having this nice period of rest after you've just done a good portion of work there. And just notice, so as you let your body rest, notice how your breathing feels. Notice if you can simply let your breathing slow down. A trick for the breath, if you're ever having a sort of fluttery day, and these do happen, where you just feel like your breath is very erratic, maybe quite labored. Something within your control is to focus on a slow breath out. And it's always helpful to breathe out through pursed lips. So it's your imaginary straw. You're using your lips like a straw. Just breathing out. And then let your breath in happen. Breathing out through pursed lips. And then breath in will just happen. Now, as everything relaxes, if you want to keep breathing that way, please, by all means, do. Otherwise, just return to a natural rhythm of breath. And bring to mind the image and felt sense of a smile. Allowing the muscles across your forehead to completely relax. Your eyes to soften, jaw unclench. Feel your throat widen within your neck so that each breath moves without any resistance. Let both of your shoulders melt down your back. And find that same awareness at your upper arms. There's a sense that your upper arms are just kind of dropping into your shoulder joints. Bring your awareness to your rib cage. Just allow your breastbone to lift slightly. When you sit, it can really sink. I say that mine was just sunken. So let your breastbone open out and feel a sense of space between each rib so that there's lots of room for your lungs to move as you breathe. Let your elbows soften, this softness extend down into your forearms, infusing your hands with space, each finger relaxing. Now, as you move back to your torso, can you embody the felt sense of a smile, even across your belly? So there's a widening and a softening. I like to imagine it's like you've just taken off something tight from around your middle and you let everything expand. You're allowed to expand. Let your pelvis sink into your chair. Feel the weight and volume of your legs, a softening extending from your hips to your knees, to your ankles, and then finally infusing your feet with spaciousness. And we want a whole body sense here. I'll reword that, a sense of our whole body. Feeling it supported on the chair, feeling the weight of your bones, noticing your breath. As you let your breath get a bit bigger, breathing in, open your fingers wide. Breathing out, curl your fingers inwards. Keep going. Now continue with wriggling your toes, reaching your arms down. As you come away from the back of the chair, your choice how far you reach your arms. I like to come back a little bit, then up. You might not go up, that's okay. And then out in front, fingers interlace, palms forwards. And then reach your arms back down. Let your breath bone become open again. Notice how you feel. Notice your posture. And thank you ever so much for joining me today. Let me just stop this record.